Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your hosts, Eric and Mando, and this is episode 62. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, wealth, tech, AI, Tesla, so you too can pump it up when Bitcoin hits 100K. Dale.
Dale. All right, man. this this week, man, it has been
You're
bananas.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Bitcoiners.
Let me share my screen though, because I think that for the people that are in YouTube, I think that it's important they see these pictures, you know. So let me share my screen here. Uh, it's very interesting, right? President-elect Donald Trump and El Salvador, right? And it's kind of funny how he basically did it, kind of like, congratulations, Bitcoiners, 100K, you're welcome.
That's hilarious. So for those of y'all that aren't like following Bitcoin every hour, every minute of every day, Bitcoin did hit 100K this week. We did mention it last week. Possibly we're gonna hit 100K, and so everybody came out with all their special videos, their pump it up, their music videos. Even Trump came out and said, "You're welcome, Bitcoiners, $100,000." So it was really cool. I think everybody in the Bitcoin community was super excited this week. It was a big milestone.
For real, right? So, and it's funny because you see a lot of people that they were like the haters, that is like, never is gonna happen, right? Where are those all of these people? And you have like big personalities, right? Like in the industry, in finance, that they never thought that it will reach to that point. And I think that Michael Saylor's point where this thing is gonna go to zero or to like even a million or 13 millions, right? Because it's just a hero or a zero. What do you think about
Mhm.
that?
Oh, I think it's totally on the hero side, not financial advice, but I think Sater breaks it down super clearly in his like manifesto, where that the thing that he's sharing with like Microsoft and all these other folks, businesses, companies, pension funds, states, nation states, all these folks. He's just saying, look, if you want to be a Bitcoin maxi, you can be a Bitcoin maxi, but you can also be a Bitcoin triple maxi. And he just breaks it down for each one of those levels. How much you can actually make. So actually, that was some of the news that came out this week, is that he did this pitch for Microsoft. He did like a 3-minute pitch or something like that of like
Mhm.
50 slides. He really ran through those, but it's pretty clear. It's pretty easy to see, how much money is really going to that is potentially there for the company and even for the shareholders. So he's saying if you want to reduce risk to the shareholder, you gotta add Bitcoin to your treasury. And he does say, yeah, he did mention 13 million, but even on the triple Bitcoin maxi case, hardcore bull run, $26 million per Bitcoin down the line. Right now, it's not going to be overnight, but that is the long term view of it. So it's really good. Trump is actually was a catalyst for all of this. A lot of this is going to be relying on that Bitcoin reserve that a lot of folks are anticipating coming in the new administration. So really, really interesting things here. And of course, everyone loves the 100K Bitcoin milestone. Now, it didn't last for long. You saw it drop down a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, but again, right? Is we have been telling in the audience that it's part of that volatility. That's kind of the word that they use, right, to in finance to describe that the stocks go up and down, and it's still in the healthy range. Again, Bitcoin has wide ranges, so it's almost 10%. So it hit up to maybe 104, and then it came back to 94. So the good news is I had some options. It's like it went down. It's like, oh man, I have to sell right now. So it's like being able to get some of that premium for some of my cover calls. Um, but yeah, I think that is just right now. We are set for next year to kind of keep going in this bull run. What do you think? Do you think that we are still in bull run, or do you think that we
Oh
just top it
yeah, for
out?
sure. So I mean, there's you got to view the whole range of predictions and thoughts and things like that. Now, traditionally, we have this bull run that starts at the halvening, which happened what, like a last March or earlier in the year, like in March, April, I forget exactly when, but it's supposed to last 18 months, the bull run. That's
Mm.
kind of generally what it does every single cycle. And for those of us that have been around, like, right, since 2012 or so, we've seen this play out over and over again. A lot of newcomers, though, just see it like, oh man, we hit 100K, it's time to sell. So, that's why you see a lot of people taking profits. Nothing wrong with taking profits, right? But really, the long term case for this is just really high. So, a lot of people are out there saying, don't sell. This is the wrong time to sell, and I kind of agree with that. But people see things a little bit differently just depending on where they are. Is this
Mhm.
like a get rich quick? Then yeah, they're gonna buy in, make their 10% and then sell off, right, and then pay whatever taxes that they need to. Others are hodlers, so they're in it for like 10 years. They're like, okay, whatever, it's gonna go up, gonna down. I know that there's cycles. I'm just gonna kind of let it ride. That's also a strategy. So, I think it's good either way. What about you?
Yeah, I think that going back to Michael Saylor's, right? So he's very articulated. Uh, he actually posted on his Twitter account, and let me just share here again, right? So uh, he called it uh, Bitcoin is the next wave. Another interesting thing is like I really like this chart that basically is kind of the 2 trillion, because right now this is called market cap, and you can see some of the different kind of different places for the assets where they stand right now. Bitcoin is in number 7, right? So we are here in this which is approaching the 2 trillion dollars. Then you have Google. Then in number 5 you have Amazon. Then number 4 you have Microsoft. Then Apple, which now number 2 is Nvidia. Who will it thought, huh?
Oh, it jumped up a lot.
Yep, with all of the AI and um, processors there, right? So, and basically to dethrone in some point gold, which I think that we have been seeing it that even the Fed, uh, the head of
Jerome
the Fed,
Powell. Hmm.
yep, he was saying this week is like, hey, Bitcoin actually is competing with gold, which is like coming around, with versus maybe a few years back where they were telling us like Warren Buffett, this is
Yeah.
rat poison.
Rat poison squared. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you see this kind of sea change, but we've always knew this was going to happen, right?
Mhm.
We a lot of Bitcoiners have seen this coming um, from way back then. So Jerome Powell, yeah, saying, "Hey, like this is a real thing." Even I mean, Putin is saying you can't take down Bitcoin. Like a lot of this stuff, all these comments from these well-known people that they're coming out and they all came out at the same time and it kind of pushed Bitcoin over 100K, and now it's going back and forth above 100K, below 100K. It does seem like it's holding support uh decently. So I think, right, this next leg up, where I don't know where it's going to head to, but some people are saying 108, some people are saying 120. It's going to go to those as its next kind of run here that it's setting up. So, I mean, it's all good. People celebrating everywhere. It was a
Yep.
big day. December 4th to 2024 is going to live on in Bitcoin lore forever. So it's really, really interesting to be part of that. And as soon as that happened, we had some videos queued up, right, to go out. So in celebration. So if y'all have not seen our viral Bitcoin videos, check them out. They're really fun. Some are short, some are a little longer, but they've got all the best of the Bitcoin memes and some nice tunes to go along with it. So encourage y'all to go check that out.
Yeah, no, for real. The other thing that is interesting though is like we need to start paying attention like the big whales, right? Who is holding the all of the Bitcoin, right? So um basically you have like the number one is now the spot ETFs, right? So it's 1,104,000 Bitcoin that they're holding.
Mm-hmm.
Then next one is Satoshi, right? Satoshi Nakamoto with 1,000,100, and then you have some of the exchanges. You have Binance, and look at how freaking like MicroStrategy keeps climbing up. It's almost 400,000.
That's freaking amazing, man. Yeah.
And the other one that is also climbing up is U.S. government, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
they basically possess all of these coins because kind of Silk Road, right? And all of these different people that they in the beginning of Bitcoin they were using it for bad purposes, right?
And
And so
they
on.
sold off a lot already. Also, imagine they had kept some of that. Like they would have been in better position. And get this, so they're already up in the ranks, right? U.S. government's
Hmm.
already up in the ranks. But once they start this whole Bitcoin reserve in the new administration, they're going to start their regular buying of Bitcoin. So they till they get to like 1 million Bitcoin. So at that point, they're gonna start rising up in those ranks even more.
Yeah, no, I, and again, right? So you have a Chinese government too, and there was something very interesting that happened too with Russia, right? With Putin, and he was saying Bitcoin is unstoppable, right? Nobody can ban it now.
Yeah. Yep.
You have world leaders, right, saying that, which actually that's something how it's gonna trickle among all of these different countries, right? You never know that maybe they're going to try to use it as reserves for breaks, right? All of these different countries, Brazil, Russia, and so on, China, and I feel that then that's kind of another interesting way to see how it's going to play out because the narrative for previous years it was, hey, maybe the big money on the institutions. Well, guess what? We are there now with the
Yep.
ETFs, and now the next narrative is like these nations to be able to have like these reserves. What's your take there?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be really important. The funny thing is, I think once these nations start saying these things, it means they already have a bag because they're not
Yeah.
gonna, they've been secretly accumulating. So I think there's some news recently that the UK even they've someone discovered their account or whatever, and they now see, okay, the UK, they also have a Bitcoin bag already, so they've been collecting and things like that. So these news are starting to come out. So you gotta know and understand that when someone comes out and says, "Hey, we think Bitcoin might be a good idea," more than likely they've been buying some up already because they don't want to front run themselves, right? They'll
Yeah,
end
yeah,
up
yeah.
getting more expensive Bitcoin. So I think this just shows what we knew all along. Folks have been slowly been acquiring it, trying to uh, keep the price down by not coming out and saying, "Hey, everybody buy Bitcoin," until they had sufficient bags themselves to be able to feel comfortable where they're like, okay, we can play with the big boys too. We can come out and say it, and then they themselves end up making a little bit more. And the thing is, as I saw this recently, I forget who was saying it, but as the Bitcoin price goes up, it becomes more valuable. Obviously, right? That's kind of the Veblen effect that we've talked about previously. But another concept kind of associated with that is that it de-risks Bitcoin, right? So I think it was Pompliano. He was saying that, when Bitcoin was a little bit smaller in terms of price and market cap and things like that, a lot of these big institutional investors, they couldn't say, "Oh, let's go buy Bitcoin," because they themselves could actually move the price up and down too much. And it was still a little bit too much of a risky asset just because it was so small, and things like that. But now that it's almost $2 trillion asset, okay. And now there's tools like the ETFs and the options, things like that. Now it becomes a more viable thing. So as the price keeps going up, um, it's becoming less risky to own and buy Bitcoin, which may be counterintuitive for some folks that are used to like buying stocks and stuff like that. Because usually, if you see a stock at an all-time high, you're like, "Oh, I mean, it's too high. Might not be a good time to buy right now." It seems to be kind of a different effect for Bitcoin. As it gets bigger and bigger, it becomes more of a viable solution for all of these big nation states, for these big pension funds. So I think that's really, really encouraging. And we're going to see acceleration, I think. So from zero, people always say, just in general, wealth, things like that, the first 100K are the hardest, right? For you to make. After 100K, it's super easy to get to 1 million. Maybe the same thing is going to apply for Bitcoin. 100K was the hardest to get there, but from 100K to 1 million, probably going to be a little bit easier. We'll see.
It's about the times that you take to compound, right? If you have like almost $1, right? Like when it was Bitcoin worth in 2011, whatever, the $1, and then to keep compounding 100% in the next year and so on to get to 100, right? Um,
Mhm.
versus just compounding. two, three times to get to the millions. So I think that also is we need to mention to the audience that there are a couple of things that we need to watch. Number one is global liquidity, right? And sometimes it's drying up, and remember that's a catalyst to be able to keep supporting some of these assets. Yes, President Trump is coming in January, right? So maybe he might continue to lower the interest rates, which it will continue to keep the machine going. But I would not discard also maybe a 20%, 30% drawdown. And again, I feel that is part of the kind of the volatility of the instrument. Uh, Compared to a stock market like in the S&P 500, that would be, oh no, this is like the bear market and we're like dying. But for Bitcoin, it's I don't want to say it's natural, but it's part of that volatility. The one that I'm a little bit more scared is kind of like your 80%, right?
Those are the ones that you might see in the bear market. But even then, to me, it's very difficult to see that happening again with more big players in the space. Maybe I would see it if they want to get bigger bags, right? Let's cause a sell off, so we can buy more Bitcoin. And these big nation states are going to be trying to play retail, right? They're like, let's freak them out. Let's do this, cause a dump, and then we buy it up for cheaper. I can see that happening. So, what do they call that? Wyckoff distribution. That's one of the things that we've
Mhm.
seen
Talk
play
about
out before.
accumulation.
And so I think that can happen, but I think if the big boys that are holding these big bags, they might not like to see those 80% drops. So they may have something to say about that, and they might keep that from happening. I think you might hear some of that in those circles, but that's so dangerous because every cycle comes around and you're like, well, this time might be different. This time might be different. And it hasn't ever been different yet. It seems to follow the same thing. And we do see these 80, 85% drawdowns. So be aware of it. That's something that keep an eye on. But right now, according to historical, right, these past cycles, we're on the way up right now. We're not on the way down.
Yeah,
So there's
and
that.
and and as you mentioned, right? So this is the accumulation, white coffee event, right? So there is these kind of waves to be able to accumulate, and in some point we you see the pulls and again the bull market is starting, right? So and it's funny how these patterns repeat on the market.
Can you zoom in
So
on that a little bit more?
yeah, sure. Um, So let me just accept all of these cookies. But yeah, so that kind of helps to visualize, right, the Wyckoff events and phases. Then you have the phase A, phase B, phase C, and so on. So right now, we basically that's what it happened to Bitcoin, right? And sometimes this plays out in years, which I
Yeah.
think that sometimes people think that they are like over here, right? But it's like no, this is if you see literally the charge for Bitcoin, that's basically what happened. It's just kind of like a very curved way with couple peaks. But yeah, I think that is again these are guidelines. They are not truly predicting what is happening. It just gives you an idea how the markets tends to move.
Yeah. So just be aware. I mean, that's really it. We understand what the cycles look like right now, but we say it rhymes. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as it was before, right? So be aware that these Wyckoff things like exist, right? There's ways for to manipulate the psychology of a group to be able to get cheaper Bitcoin is really all that is. But I think we're far away from that. Maybe in a year or so, that's really something that we are really going to have to watch out for. But for right now, I think a lot of folks are enjoying the ride up. Just know altcoins and things like that. There is a relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins in terms of when Bitcoin goes, straight up parabolic, a lot of altcoins are going to come down. So just be aware. I know a lot of folks, they've been asking me, well, can I buy XRP? Can I buy more Ethereum? Can I buy more of this, Solana, XLM? There's a lot of stuff out there that are looking really good. So short term, you can probably make some money because altcoin season right now, whenever Bitcoin's kind of going sideways, there's probably opportunity for that. I don't follow it too closely, though. I do have some bags. My main thing is always Bitcoin, but just be aware. You might be enjoying it, but remember to take profits because if Bitcoin makes a huge move, a lot of those things tend to drop because there's some cycling out of altcoins into Bitcoin as it makes its move up. So just folks, just be aware that there's going to be some volatility for not just Bitcoin, but also um, altcoins.
Yep, yep, for sure. And people tend to do that, right? To move them around um, between even stable coins. Sometimes they don't want to get it out of the exchange. They try to just move into an stable coin, so that way it's still kind of available for them to be able to kind of pick it up another coin if they want to. Um, and it's just sometimes it's faster, right? Because if you're trying to just move it into your bank account with all the old fiat, and it's just like ancient machines, right?
Yeah, it's like you can see it in 7 days in your account. Like, oh man, come on, man! It'll
It's
go
like
up and down 10x between that time. Like,
yeah, and exactly, and we mentioned it here, right? Like sometimes the best days is like 10 days for the whole year, right? And it's
yeah,
like you just miss it because your
yeah,
archaic bank. Sorry,
yeah,
Wells Fargo. Sorry, sorry, Bank of America.
yeah.
It's just they move too slow, but again, it's just because of the infrastructure that is designed in that way.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess to wrap up the Bitcoin section, yeah, keep an eye on global liquidity. That is something that we maybe overall we're starting to see it dry up a little bit, but hopefully, once uh, the Fed rates continue to kind of draw down,
Hmm.
that'll loosen up again, and we'll see some more free flow of money going into the crypto space. Moving on, AI, artificial intelligence. This kind of cracked me up a little bit just because um, we were talking. Man, I keep getting these freaking spam calls all over the place. But AI to the rescue. I'm glad people are starting to use AI for good. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you heard about this?
Nope.
The AI powered grandma?
What the heck is that?
So this is AI powered grandma. This really just kind of, I thought it was pretty funny. They call her Daisy, Grandma Daisy.
Okay.
She's an AI that will answer your spam calls for you. And she'll be like, "Oh, what are you selling me? Oh, I like that. How can I give you my money?" And it's just an AI just baiting these scammers that are calling you, preying on older folks that tend to be a pretty big target here. But we've always said the AIs, maybe they're not out to kill us; they're going to help us too. So AI Grandma Daisy is going to be able to ward off, at least waste the time with those scammers, right?
Hmm.
To do this. Have you seen other folks doing this stuff?
No, but it's a great idea. It's like having your I guess truly your personal assistant to
Mhm.
be gatekeeper. Like on your account. I'm more drastic, man. I just put a no disturb, so everybody just gets sent into freaking voicemail. If it is important, they know how to reach me out, right?
Yeah,
Or even leave a voicemail, so I don't receive any calls because it's like automatic
yeah.
to no answer. And by the way, I don't even have like voicemail, right? so
I know,
so
right?
once again, there are ways for people to contact me in different ways.
Well, for small businesses though, like this can be really annoying because they're
Hmm.
getting real calls from potential business clients, right? So they kind of have to answer the phone,
Yeah.
right? And so like it's super annoying when half the calls are all spam. Or they're all trying to scam you or something like that, and it's really a problem. I hear from these business owners, they're like, they're answering, they have to have extra phone lines to be able to filter through everything because it's just so congested. So I don't know, there really has to be something there has to be a solution here that can help out. And I've mentioned to some of these folks that come asking about like what kind of solutions there are. This might be something that can work if you can train an AI to answer your phone. It doesn't have to be like an actual a virtual assistant or something from somewhere else. You can get an AI to answer your phone, at least to triage the phone call and tell, is it a scammer? Well, then, we get Daisy, Grandma Daisy on the phone, or if it's a legit client that's looking to to use your business for whatever reason, it'll take in actual information so you can call them back, or and so this is so that it doesn't seem like an answering service. I think that's the key, right? Because there's answering services right now, but they're kind of not personalized. I think AI can play a part in this. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe I don't know if how iPhone will allow you to do that, but in different Android devices, you are able to kind of tap into the application. They can answer for you, things like that. So we'll see how the different iPhone providers and as well the or phone providers and as well the ISPs they allow
Mhm.
it to do that. But it seems interesting. I think that I will use it.
Yeah, and Google has their like Google numbers, right? So, and that's been out for like a decade or more, right? Where they have a screening service, and it sounds like a real person talking. I wonder if they can expand that so you can have different personas that answer the phone. So you can have AI grandma, but of course, Google doesn't want they don't want their servers to be taken up with all this stuff either. So someone's got to take on these scammer folks. I was getting some. I kept getting phone calls from Nigeria earlier this week. I was like,
You're
come on, man.
cousin that you have a rich
Yeah,
uncle.
I was like, hey, Eric, Prince from Nigeria, cousin, I need some help. He's like, no, man, come on. I was like, block, but they kept calling, and it was like 6 in the morning. I'm like, leave me alone. What's going on? I'm trying to meditate.
So the other one that I'm getting is like, hey, I'm here waiting for like I'm in the coffee shop or whatever. It's like, what the heck is
Yeah.
this? It's like when I get some of these messages that I have no idea and the numbers I don't know the numbers or whatever,
Hmm.
spam, right? Like I'm not even spending the time to like, who is this? Because that's how
Yeah.
they catch you, or at least they know that your number is active.
Yeah, that's true. I do get those texts also. Oh, hey, I'm are we still gonna meet or whatever?
Hmm.
It's like, come on, man. Come on. It's getting to be too much. I
Yeah.
see this way too much now. Oh well. Well, hopefully AI Daisy Grandma Daisy will help us out at some point.
Yeah, I mean, AI will help us to detect a bunch of fraud, kind of fraud protection, right, and prevention. So, and at the end of the day, as you say, maybe it's not going to be Terminator. It might help us in the way, right, to
Yeah.
protect us against scammers.
So true. Well, speaking of I guess fraud. Well, have you heard the latest of this broken Cybertruck that I don't know, did it break in half? What happened?
Man, now that we have cyber trucks and we are looking for topics, like it looks like we always are like the David Downers, like we always bring bad news. And it's like full disclosure, both of us we have cyber trucks, right? But
Yeah.
there's just maybe news, right? The news they like to bring always the bad news and controversial. But yes, I saw the truck that kind of this guy, right? It broke the. But yeah, tell the audience.
Okay, well, so what I heard is that from what I read, right, it's like this guy was, I guess, I don't know if it was like he was going at speed, and he doesn't specify how much because he says insurance might have a problem with that.
Uh,
But there was apparently this huge pothole, so that the whole truck basically bottomed out, and it ended up breaking his frame for the
yeah.
Cybertruck. And I'm thinking, can a pothole really do that? But I have heard of stuff like that on normal cars, and Cybertruck's pretty heavy. I can see it
Mhm.
happening. He said it took 34K and 4 months to fix though. But on the bright side, it's fixable. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
uh, he still maintains it's the best truck ever though,
uh,
which I
you know,
agree. I mean, I love my truck, so
yeah. So I think that hard to tell, right? So the other guy, there was another YouTuber that he was playing around and he was pulling the hitch, right? And he actually
mhm.
broke it too. So, but again, he's doing it for the views,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know how many of these issues will will actually come up like that, right? That maybe it's bad soldering or whatever, or maybe the
Right.
weight is too bad. So, uh,
That's true. Well, if you read the story, it does say like, okay, like yes, it was pretty big, but it wasn't just like the frame disintegrating or something like that. The suspension actually like broke through broke through the whole thing. So they had to replace like a shitload of things. And so, it's not just like, oops, I hit a pothole and like I cracked my frame. It's not like that. It seemed like it was a pretty significant impact and crash. And to me, 34K actually doesn't seem like too expensive to fix something like that. It seems to be kind of right on target. I know I had my Porsche that there was a stop sign that was missing, and so I
mhm.
ended up t-boning another vehicle. And again, not my fault because the stop sign was missing. Right, there's not much I could
That's
do
what
about
all
that.
the guilty people say. No, not me. Wasn't me.
But like it crunched the front end pretty much of my Porsche. At that point, I was like, man, I walked away from that like without a scratch. So it was, I
Hmm.
mean, I was pretty safe, but that the other car was like down the street. It's just like the other car was going at really big speed. So that's why, I mean, it was pretty big impact, but my whole front end was like crunched pretty much in half. And it was like, oh
Wow.
shit, for sure this is going to be totaled. Of course, the Porsches are worth a lot. So they're like, no, we can, you can salvage. I'm like, no, please total it. No, they're like, so they fixed it. It ended up being something like that, 30 grand, 35 grand
Yeah, yeah.
to get it back to new. Of course, you know how that works. But yeah, so it's like, okay, well, it is what it is. At least with the Cybertruck, it's just like Lego pieces getting put back together. So it's
I'm surprised
it's
that
okay.
that that they're able to pull it out. If you see the image, it's like, man, at least I know that
Mm-mm.
they can carry the Cybertruck, right? So, um, because yeah, it's like the tall truck.
Mm-mm.
I thought that was super heavy. Then maybe you will need a different type. But yeah, I'm glad that they're able to lift it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. At least it rolls. I mean, I've seen other things talking about how the wheels uh, are made of concrete or something, and they just. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. So just like, I don't know if it was a pothole also, but apparently they show the wheel, and it looks kind of weird. It does look like, oh man, is the wheel made out of concrete? That doesn't make any sense. But again, like the whole wheel got ripped off of the truck
Hmm.
in a pretty big accident. It seems, right. It's not like just driving down the highway.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's all this stuff kind of floating around, and yes, we're the Debbie Downers of Cybertruck because the feed, that's all it gives us right now. But I'll balance it out by saying uh, FSD on the Cybertruck has been really, really great. Just yesterday, I took a drive. Of course, we're here in Houston. Took a drive from my house uh, into the Upper Kirby area. We're going to dinner, so it was maybe like a 20-minute drive or something like that, and it did it all by itself on FSD. No interruptions. So these latest versions of FSD really are getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Um, and that's it. I don't think we're on FSD 13, which was just released by Tesla. Cybertruck's always a little bit behind, so we're on the previous version, FSD 12, I guess. FSD 13, they're saying is like a super big improvement, but I'm seeing more and more that I can take these drives without having to disengage, which is pretty good. And this is street driving, highway driving, exiting on ramping. I just can't wait until it can pull in and out of my driveway, which I heard FSD 13 can do. So I think that'll be pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we said before, right? 85% there. So for a lot of the man, when I was in the freeway, it's like, just leave it there. It's like I still I would like it in some point to let us use the phone, right? So because right now the internal monitor is like monitoring, which probably is
Yeah.
because of the law and whatever.
Even
So, but
changing the radio station, like it's like beep beep beep.
sometimes,
It's like, oh man, come on, man.
yeah, it's like chill out. So, but yeah, I think that in some point it was gonna get so good that it's just truly with the robot taxis, right? It's like, well, if it's the same technology and there is no driver, it's like
Hmm.
why you are letting me actually like I think that it will get in some point there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We're trying to have a balanced approach on Tesla and Cybertruck. I guess this is a good point. If you guys do have a Cybertruck, go check out CT Mods. I did release a couple videos this last couple weeks on. They do have a truck cover. Also showed you guys the white and black leather seats. So if you have a foundation series, it does look pretty good. The color does match up pretty well. Go check them out. They'll give you a discount if you use our code, which is MEX22, MEX22, or just use our affiliate link that's in the notes. Um, that stuff seems pretty good. Fits the truck well. There's some wrinkles on some of the seats, but I think over time, you stretch it out and it should straighten out. So I think it looks pretty good. And they have a ton of other stuff. By the way, we do have some other sponsors that are joining for the channel. So we'll be bringing you some other products also from the Cybertruck here pretty soon. So we'll share that with y'all as the stuff comes in.
We're going global, baby.
Yeah. uh, uh, let's see. How about let's go over to talk a little bit about tech. Um, I saw. You know what? I got a TikTok from a friend. I'm in a group chat, right? I'm in a group chat
Hmm.
with some friends, and I'm the only Android user there. The other two are iPhone folks, and they send me this, and they're like, "Eric, we're gonna have to drop you from the group chat." I was like, "Okay, what's going on? What do you mean? All right, I'm getting excluded for being an Android user here." Well, it turns out the FBI is warning folks that if you're in texting between iPhone and Android, there's some attacks going on to try and intercept your messages because I guess the encryption's not there or whatever,
Hmm.
right? Have you heard about this?
I have been going, and not in detail, but I even the with the bubbles, right? Like the colors of the bubbles, things like that. So
Hmm.
probably is related.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. There's a whole encryption stuff that's going on, and I suppose I'm not like ever talking about like super sensitive information on, over text. So I'm not sure what these hackers are trying to get from text, but I guess you never know. You know what? Maybe what they're no, I don't even know because it's between iPhone and Android. I'm not sure, but maybe they're just trying to pick up some information that your grandma's maiden name or whatever, like that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe they can get some of that. So if you're being targeted to be hacked somehow, they can maybe pick up some of that information from your text. So be aware. I don't know what's a good solution to that. Just use WhatsApp or something like that, or some other encryptable service. What do we do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's another one is people like to use still Snapchat, right? If you want extra secure, you can use Signal. So,
Hmm.
but a lot of people in because they used to do a lot of charges for sending text messages. WhatsApp became very popular, which then Facebook acquired that company and they own it, right? So they own Instagram, they own WhatsApp, and
Hmm.
it's part of the Meta group. Talking about Meta, have you seen Mac Zach Zuckerberg? So the guy
Who's
is like now
Zuckerberg?
chat. It's like look
Oh,
at chat.
this got his gold chain, his black T-shirt. He's looking all cool. He's got his Meta frames. His Ray Bans, whatever. Man, dude, he like reimagined himself, and it's like,
No,
man,
it's just the
it's a new
money that
guy.
he just probably hired
But he's had
personal
money for a
branding.
long time, right? He's had money for a long time. I don't know what happened here, but he's like, man, I want to be cool now. It's just like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a bunch of things that came up with him this week too, because he was grabbing a Porsche and basically he wanted to do like a minivan. So they actually he and his family hired a custom company to be able to put together that kind of minivan with the of the Porsche. Kind of
Like
weird.
a Porsche vehicle.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Okay. Do you have a picture of that?
Let
I'd
me see
like
if
to
I
see
can
that.
find it quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So I have not seen a Porsche that could be turned into. Well, you know what? They've got Cayennes, right? They're SUVs that Porsche has. I could see maybe you can turn that. I guess put a van body on top of that and doing something like that, and maybe even the EV, so it can power the stuff that's in the back, right? That could work, but it might look a little funny. I don't know. Got a picture? Yeah, interesting. It does look like just kind of an elongated Cayenne, right? Yep. I lost your sound. I don't hear you, Mando.
Yeah, it's which is weird, right? For me,
There it is.
it's not a basically kind of what I would like. It is not my cup of tea, right? So,
Hmm.
and yes, they grab a Cayenne sub. So, and they try to kind of make it more like a, I
A
don't know, like a
stretched
minivan.
Cayenne or something.
I have I have a lot of hate for minivans. So, but yeah, I think that I don't know, but it's nice that Mark is trying to give that for his wife, right? So, but yes, that's kind of the picture.
It'll be a cool one, right? I mean, you should have gone with the Lambo, using the Lambo SUV instead. I think that one looks more cool if he was looking for that.
I guess, but it's like, maybe he was trying to get a limousine type of a look. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. Well, that's all that we've got for today. If you guys enjoyed the show, just remember to like, subscribe, comment. We love to hear from y'all. We love the interaction. If y'all haven't seen our, if y'all haven't seen our viral Bitcoin all-time high videos, check them out. They're doing really well right now with the whole Bitcoin hitting 100K. They're a good time. We've got a 90s mix. We got a little of a rap mix with Michael Saylor doing his yachty dance, and then we've got just a general kind of pump it up music video because that is the key for all of this. And also just remind y'all again, CT Mods as a channel sponsor. Go check out their website. They've got Cybertruck accessories if you're looking for them. MEX22 is our code, or just use our affiliate link to check it out. But that's all we got for today. Dale.
Dale.